What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified when videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting the like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm so we can get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description and put your signature on the petition for reparations. With that being said, family, today I want to come to you and speak to you about a mindset that we need to make sure people aren't trying to bring to us. In our fight for justice and equity, in our fight for reparations, we tend to have a lot of people coming to us trying to tell us that we need to convince other people that this is necessary. And whenever someone brings that up, at least to me, I always have to let them know with the quickness. Nobody else's opinions matter whenever America wants to do for anyone else. Let me say that again. No one else's opinion ever matters whenever America wants to do something for any other group. When it comes down to foundational Black Americans, though, when it comes down to the freedmen, though, when it comes down to the descendants who built this country, the descendants of the people who built this country, well, we got to convince people and we have to show a need and all this other stuff. When every statistic, when it comes to housing, when it comes to employment, when it comes to anything, shows that we have the grander need out of anyone else. But the Asians got a hate crime bill with no problem. The Native Americans got a prison reform bill with no problem under Biden. You got illegal aliens here today that can literally break the law and not get deported, no matter what they do. And nobody opinions matter on any of these situations. And even though they know for certain that they're spitting in the face of Black Americans, they continue to do it. Nobody who had a problem with giving money to the Ukraine, there was nobody's voice that mattered. With all the voices that are against giving money to Israel, none of those voices matter. With all the voices that's against the situation at the border, none of those voices matter. You see, the voices only matter when it comes to paying us what's due. The voices only matter when it comes down to actually doing something for the Black community. The voices only matter when it's time to remove the economic depression that you put us in. Oh, the voices matter all of a sudden. The voices matter when we're speaking up against the brutality of our own people. When we're talking about hate crime bills, all of a sudden, the voices matter. when we're speaking about getting something for our vote, all of a sudden the voices matter. Well, I submit to you, family and friends, those voices don't matter, and they never did, and they never will. The only voices that matters is ours. And our strong demand, not beg, demand for the equality, equity that's owed and due to us. That's all that matters. That's all that matters, because at the end of the day, the government don't care about anyone else's voices when it comes to any other group. And that's that. So this is a real short and sweet. Let's get right to the point with it. When someone comes to your doorstep asking for your vote, when someone comes into your community asking for your vote, and you let them know this is have to happen in order for you to get our vote, we gonna need to see some policy for our community. We're gonna need the reparations for our community. If that person tries to turn around and John Wayne splain, white splain, how they need to educate people on why that's a need, you need to cut them off. People like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. needs to be cut off. Because when our sister Vicky Dillard told him straight up about what's necessary for us, he then responded with a bunch of nonsense. Well, I worked with the different Native American tribes, and everybody that got cash payments, they were no better off. They were actually worse off, and all this other. Shut up. Just get out. Get out. Don't come back to our community, because you're not here to do what's best for the country, because what's best for the country, and many studies have shown, is America paying reparations, because that would add to the GDP. $5 trillion. There are many studies to show that America's anti-black racism is costing it trillions of dollars. There are so many studies that shows why this is a need, and not just for Black Americans, for all of America. And they're trying their hardest to convince us that they need to go around convincing everyone else, when that's not how this game works. It's never been how this game works. And I'm reading the book. Shout out to Torian Reloaded. Torian Reigns Reloaded, excuse me. Shout out to him, because he brought up a book that he was reading, and I started reading that book as well. And it's a pretty good book. A lot of good information in it. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into it, because I want to wait for Torian's live in order to speak about that, and then I'll come back and I will do a full breakdown on it. However, none of these things that was ever done for us was done because someone wanted to do it out the kindness of their hearts. We forced them to. In every situation, from freedom to the Civil Rights Bill, we forced them to do these things. So I want to make it very, very clear. We didn't need to go around convincing people that there was a need for us to be free. What we were doing was fighting back and going out to get our freedom. And Lincoln needed us so that they can retrieve their own freedom from their own situations, their inbreed fighting. And if it wasn't for the slaves, Lincoln would not have won. But we even had to force him to do anything. So that's why when people talk about Lincoln, he's a great emancipator and all this other stuff, there are many quotes of Lincoln out there basically saying he's going to assign the power and privilege to the white race. Also, he spoke about not wanting to make the black man equal to the white man. And if he could beat slavery, if he can beat the South without releasing the slaves, he would. Hell, he said even if he can beat the South leaving some of the slaves in place, he would. But he was forced to do what he needed to do in order to preserve the Union. That's historical facts. You can go back and look it up. So when it comes to us, we force the system to change by any and all means. We don't go around convincing for hundreds of years and things like that. No. That is a stall tactic when you tell us that you need to go around convincing other people that what we need needs to be done. When you have all the studies, all the articles, all the books written that gives you the reason is now and is necessary. The time is now and it is necessary. So family, anyone come to you with this nonsense about having to convince others about that, it's just a stall tactic to get you to believe that if you vote for them, they're going to be going around advocating for your interests when they're supposed to be already going around advocating for our interest. That's their job, to represent us. You can't have taxation without representation. Well, nowadays we got all kind of taxation, double taxation, triple taxation without representation. But that's a whole different ball game. We'll talk about that on another day. But all these things that are being done for everyone else is coming out of our pockets, our tax money, all while our neighborhoods are deprived and thrown into the barrel of the beast. So damn anybody that come to you with that nonsense. And make sure you call them out on their nonsense, because they didn't have to go around convincing people why these illegal immigrants need $1,000, need to be put up into housing, free housing, getting free food, free clothing, immunity from the law. They ain't convincing anybody that that's necessary. They're just doing it. They just do it. They didn't have to convince it for the Asians. They didn't have to convince it for the Native Americans, or the so-called Native Americans, excuse me. They didn't have to convince nobody about giving money to Israel. They didn't have to convince nobody about giving money to the Ukraine. They don't ever have to ever convince anybody on their military budget or spending. They just do it. So at the end of the day, when we say cut the check, just do it. Like it's a Nike commercial. Just do it. Or you don't get the vote. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's how it's going to be. And this is the new normal. Get used to it. Because trust me, we can either all be getting it together, or we can all be getting it together. Period, point and blank. And like I said, if America really wanted to just save itself, and I'm not talking spiritually, but that is an aspect of it too. But I don't think a lot of these devils care about the spiritual aspect of it, so I don't ever go to the spiritual aspect of it, because most of these devils don't care about the spiritual aspect. Hell, they was lynching us right after church, having barbecues, eating our bodies. That's another historical fact, YouTube, just in case you want to try and play a game with me. So when it comes to that side, I don't ever go into the spiritual on it. But if America wants to save itself financially, then you need to pay those reparations. You need to cut that check and watch what we do with it. The same thing that we did in every other aspect of history. We're going to build. And that's what they don't want. They don't want us building, being self-sufficient. That's what it is. When are Black Americans going to pick themselves up by their bootstraps? We done picked ourselves up more times than we can count. And each time, here come your little jealous hooligans, Neanderthals, coming through our neighborhoods and destroying stuff because it was way better than what they had. It was more prosperous than their cities. Give us what we need and we know what to do with it, because we've done it and continue to do it. That's why they need to sabotage anything we do. That's why they sabotage anything that we do. So no, we're not accepting any of that. We need to convince people talk any longer. No. No one needs to be convinced. We already know what's old and we know what to do with what's old. Cut the check. And with that being said, family, if you are not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified when videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm to make sure this message get out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please go down to the description, click that change.org link and put your name on the bill and the petition for reparations. With that being said, family, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace, family.